Okay, great.
It's working. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Dear friends, colleagues, professors, acquaintances, what was your first impression of me? What qualities did you initially label me?
Sorry, I forgot to mute myself so you don't hear an echo.
I think you have to stay unmuted so we could hear your presentation.
Annie, you have to unmute,
Got it.
or we can't hear you.
Thank you. One more time.
You're doing great.
Yes, it's fine. All good.
I'm Annie, your friendly neighborhood acting major, and this is my thesis presentation. Back in August, when I began conceptualizing my thesis, I only knew a few things. One, I needed this project to have post-graduation applications for me. And two, I was feeling lost on how to find structure within my ephemeral field. I settled on studying social media when I found out that viral sensation Miranda Sings, aka Colleen Ballinger, got to play one of my dream roles on Broadway. But how to study social media? I settled on the lens of personal brand because I knew that I didn't yet know myself well enough to market me. And that's basically my whole job. To be an actor is to be yourself professionally. Being who you are authentically is the mark of a professional. To be authentic in this context is to express yourself in a way that resonates with something at your core. To be true to the essence of who you are and share the only unique things you have to offer. Your perspective, your truth, yourself. Both my research and training have directed me towards this key idea. So I started posting. I decided to go with Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. This quickly expanded to include TikTok as well. Time to get famous. It did not work like that, obviously. After a couple months with my numbers still remaining stagnant, I started to think it might be time to consider a new focus for my project. I began my thesis with the intention of cracking the code to finding success in the crazy acting world. And then the actual crazy world showed up. You know what I mean. I needed to turn inward. So I designed a new survey focusing on the other key idea that I started my project with, my personal brand. I asked friends, peers, professors, and former directors to answer a series of in-depth questions about me. You've heard question 1 already. My degree is on how to do the work, but my project focuses on how to get the work. For me and many other actors, that's the hard part. Leveraging the business of acting in your favor is a key part of becoming a working actor. There is no set path to success in my field. I could literally study at Yale and still get doors slammed in my face. There are no guarantees, except that if you don't put yourself and your work into the world, you're not going to get hired. Getting hired. Actor Valhalla. My training and research teaches me that precisely because of the innumerable factors that are out of my control in this process, it's essential that I take control of the ones that I can. Apart from the obvious, like training and preparation, good marketing is key. When I get hired, it is equivalent to me making a sale. It's impossible to effectively advertise a product you don't understand. My acting is my product, and I am my brand. The primary distinction between product and brand, according to Marty Neumeyer, is that brand isn't what you, the seller, say it is, it's what they, the customer, say it is. The product is the reality, And brand is the sense that people get when they think about the product, the company, and what they're selling. I know, essentially, my product. I'm a good actor. I'm on time, I can deliver. But brand is trickier, and it's woven deeper into my work than in many other fields because it is that intangible quality that we're making. I know who I am, mostly, but in my field, it is essential that I also know how other people perceive me. That is what I sought to learn with my survey. Luckily, I have people in my life who are willing to get down and dirty. I received 10 responses to my survey, and I coded all the surveys across responses looking for key adjectives. It's these adjectives that first pop into mind when someone thinks about me that are going to define my brand. I separated responses into 2 categories, product and brand. My product category included 4 subcategories. Large range, meaning I can play a wide variety of roles, hardworking, funny, and talented singer-actor. Thank God, 4 years and a house later, I certainly hope so. These are facts of what I bring into a room after I've been cast. Brand reveals more about what I'm likely to be cast as, at least initially, until I get to show off that range and everyone decides I'm fabulous at everything. Imagination, also a fantastic quality in an actor. Anyway, brand. The public has determined that I am bold, bubbly, and brainy. Bold and bubbly both had 38 adjectives in their category. The most repeated words being outgoing, expressive, passionate, and authentic in bold, and in bubbly, cute, quirky, kind, and enthusiastic. Brainy had far fewer adjectives, 19, but every word in that category was repeated. Witty, inquisitive, and intelligent. Intelligent, with a total of 9 repetitions, was the most repeated word overall. Inquisitive came second at 6, and outgoing in third with 5. So that's me, paint by numbers. Honestly, it's about what I thought, and I'm doing an okay job of communicating that brand already. I asked respondents to describe the me that is presented by my social media presence, and all the categories except for range were represented in their responses. Bubbly was overrepresented. 16 out of 26 adjectives describing that online me were in the bubbly category. So it's not perfect, but overall, I've crafted an effective presence across platforms. Before I take my victory lap, some limitations. 1, these studies weren't anonymous. I knew who was answering what. So with questions like, what were your first impressions of me? It's okay if they're not traditionally flattering. It's likely that some respondents pulled their punches, or at the very least didn't answer with complete honesty. Also, many of these respondents have known me personally or professionally for years. So inevitably, respondents' memory of initial responses to me, those likely to be had by casting directors and other potential employers, have been altered in some way by their later experiences with me. 3, I didn't address the difference between look and style in a question regarding my appearance. So cute could have just popped up because I know how to shop. 4, word choice is personal. It's hard to be certain I coded words precisely as respondents intended. 5, repetition across responses could lend some respondents more weight than others. Lastly, number 6, condensing multi-word descriptors down into one word for counting purposes is not an exact science. While my primary research didn't confirm that an actor must have a social media presence, I want to argue that they should. In addition to its potential to increase castability by guaranteeing producers eyes on their project, a social media presence is a free and independent branding vehicle for actors. It allows them unique ownership and independence in brand development and distribution. It's possible, and a step towards success, to reframe social media not as a chore, but instead an exciting and potentially profitable creative outlet to supplement the life of an actor. Back to the one guarantee in acting. If you don't show up, you won't get seen. Acting is a right place, right time field. So, if you put yourself in more places, you increase the right times. Authenticity equals success, whether or not it equals numbers. This is the standard actors should strive for online. Coronavirus highlights the need to live and breathe online, not all the time, but to have avenues to live and create and be that you can control, to be your own gatekeeper. It is my job to be my loud, know-it-all self. Those are two words that didn't make it into the final data because they were only repeated twice. Moving forward, I've decided to create a new Facebook page rather than using my Facebook feed and create a performance portfolio on my website with videos and stuff that I can share across platforms. I'm excited about it. This practice of content creation is sacred. How about just really important? During this process of self-evaluation and intentional content creation, I felt like I was taking myself seriously, which is really important for student actors. And I felt that way because I was. Researching myself offered me a really helpful big picture perspective to fall back on when I was feeling discouraged. I absolutely got pulled into the social media undertow at times, but I believe that this sensation of communicating myself, creating content with the potential for people to see it, even if they don't, is vital. There won't always be a pandemic going on, but I am entering into an extremely volatile career path. I set out on this journey seeking structure. My research and my coursework tells me that I should strive to be comfortably, authentically myself. Of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Does social media have the potential to suck the life out of a human being? Absolutely it does, especially when it isn't approached with clear intentions and secure intentions. Is my intention to make money? Yes, I want to make a living sharing my work with other people. It doesn't matter if I know who they are, knowing that they're there makes it thrilling to make art. I've never been a purist. I like to take care of my audience, and here's a free way to do that. Because I know who I am, I know that I am capable of content creation, and I know how to share my work by sharing it. On that note, please enjoy this TikTok. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really tough. Is there a problem? No, the camera's a little, is this better? I want you to be comfortable.
Thank you.
That was great.
Let's see, do that. Okay. Oh, you're muted, Georgia.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, Tyler. I think your advisor wants to step in and say a couple of words, and then we'll open it up to questions. You can unmute yourself for questions, or you can type it in the chat and I'll read it. Thank you.
Annie, Oh my goodness, congratulations. Well done. I am so grateful that you allowed me to come along on this journey with you. Annie, I'm so proud of you. You know, as your professor, we've worked very, very closely together over these 4 years, and I want to thank you so much for allowing me in and allowing me to be a part of the whole thing. It has been a privilege, and quite frankly, as an artist, an inspiration to watch you and your work ethic. And as we've talked about so many times, it can't just be about the talent. We've got to wrap our minds around the business of it as well, and coming at it in this new time. And I believed it was such a bold move this is uncharted territory. There is no information to draw on. You're creating it. So I am so proud of this undertaking. I'm so proud to be a friend, and I cannot wait till we work together again in the future.
And here's my stole.
Yes. Yes, congratulations, Annie.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. I'll look at the chat to see if there's questions or let's see.
There are some questions, so I'll let you read them out since you probably know who they are.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So what is your process of generating ideas to create more content that is both new and reflects your personal brand? Thanks, Weston. I have a huge note on my phone that says post ideas that largely I'll stop conversations that I'm having with my friends that kind of get us giggling and be like, okay, I'm gonna write this down. And then I do, and I'm like, okay, I'm back. So kind of from living with my weird brain and then sort of keeping things authentic comes from trusting my initial creative instinct. So I had to learn a little bit about this, but if I think it's funny and I put it into the world, it's successful. Even if we got like 8 views or something like that. Okay. Oh no, the scroll goes so fast. Okay. Annie, what actors out there do you think have a good brand and social media presence? Quite a few. It's because it's pretty ubiquitous. But I think Kristen Bell does a really great job. She creates, you know, she's this beautiful person who has created her own platform in order to not just be seen as a bubbly blonde. So that's a good example. That's someone that I definitely pulled from.
Cool.
Yeah. What are your favorite tools for getting to know yourself? Assuming that you can't submit a tell me what you think about me survey to your social circle. Fair. First of all, you know, why not just make people a little uncomfortable sometimes? No, just kidding. Part of my training has been professors like looking me dead in the eyes and be like, know yourself, think about you, think about what you did. So that's kind of like, that's, you know, obviously not an accurate portrayal, but it's in the degree work, and then partly self-reflection has kind of been built into my worldview. So journaling helps a lot if I'm sort of tangled in my thoughts, kind of journaling and paying attention to my values and what feels good to make and participate in, and what makes me laugh. Any particular online personality assessments you would recommend, or would you outsource getting to know yourself to a therapist, trusted friend, or family member? I haven't used a lot of personality tests. I think they can be good for sort of touching base with what you agree with. Sort of like when you read a horoscope and you're like, that's not me, then that's sort of a way, like flipping a coin if you don't know what decision to make, and then you decide what you wanted if it lands on the wrong side. But I haven't used any of those specifically. at least not for this project. Also, would you value the opinions of those who only glean a first impression of you, or those who have known you for a long time when considering the applications of your thesis for casting? Much as it sucks, first impressions are for a long time where I'm gonna make my money from. So both, right? So trying to foster comfortability with myself that makes my first impression reflect larger experience with me is ideal. So, you know, we've all had moments where we're like, oh my God, I would never do that. Like you say, so, and I certainly have had those moments. And I think where I've grown in that is learning more about myself, being comfortable with myself, knowing that that's what I'm selling, not any particular version. And it's hard to like know that in your body versus know it in your head, but that's kind of my thing. And lastly, for fun, who is an actor, singer, person whose social media you admire as a vessel for their own personal brand work? Yeah, so Natalie Weiss.
You totally already answered that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Natalie Weiss, Kristen Bell, kind of like badass ladies overall. Any other questions? Any thoughts?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, on the contrary to that, who's an actor or singer or, you know, celebrity that you think has done a terrible job with their brand?
One doesn't exactly come to mind. I think, you know what? Like, you know when Hillary Clinton was like, just chilling in Cedar Rapids?
Uh-huh.
That was funny because Hillary Rodham Clinton would never say, I'm just chilling. Like, I'm cool, you know? So like, that's an example of what an inauthentic representation, because if you did like all the statistics, right? Like, I'm just chilling. Even me saying that is a little bit like funny because I'm not a low-key human, and neither is Hillary Clinton. So that's an example. Yeah,
Okay.
Adrienne?
So I have a question. Because over this year, I've of course been following you on social media because I can't binge enough Annie. But I was wondering at what points were there disconnects between whenever you put something out that like a video or a post that you really liked versus how it was received? If you really liked something and then it wasn't received well, or on the flip side, whenever you didn't think something was great content, but then it was received really well. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Some of the videos I think are like the most funny things I think primarily to TikTok, because something funny, I don't know what time we're at, Georgia. Are we good? Because I can babble. 1 minute. Okay. So yeah, so I got like 1,300 views on a video and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be famous. It's not gonna be hard. And then like my next one had like 12 and I was like, what the hell, man? That's just as good. And I finally had to have like my beautiful friend in LA be like, Annie, stop. If you think it's funny, like, please stop talking to me about how sad you are about it has 12 views. So most everything I made so far, my YouTube video Covers for Quarantine got more views than my other ones and I spent less time on it. So that was interesting too.
Okay, hi everybody. I wish we could go on with this because Annie has lots of fans and lots of questions. It's been really interesting and invigorating. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up next
Thank
is
you for coming, guys.
Congratulations. You did good.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Annie.
Bye.
Bye, Annie. Bye.
Yay, Annie.